We are back with more Nintendo Week. I'm your host, Colin McIsaac, still joined by Alex Plant.
The Critin who hasn't played Sun or Moon.
I know. And Ben Lamoureux.
Shun the non-believer.
We don't need to waste any time. Let's head to the Game Corner. And here we are at the Game Corner, a segment where we shoot the breeze about games that have just come out, or games we've been playing lately, etc. This week is the obvious Pokémon Sun and Moon, the hotly anticipated 7th generation of Pokémon, which launched last Friday. It's been a long time coming with lots of strong opinions, but they're finally here. Alex the Heretic is not playing, and I don't know about you, Ben, but I am so happy with these entries.
I'm so happy with certain things in these entries.
Okay, sure. That's probably a more accurate statement.
I have
for
some
me
mixed
too.
feelings on the games, but overall, the first few hours were kind of rough to get through, and then since then I've been enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I feel like when the game first starts, it comes at you like plot heavy and text heavy, and I'm like, oh, alright, some world building. If they actually make an interesting plot, this could be cool.
And so much of it is so unnecessary. I don't know how many times I can stand to just press A when all I hear is,
It keeps
"Woohoo,
going.
yeah."
Every 5 steps, someone runs up to you and is like, here, I'm gonna say 20 things to you, mash the A button, and then you take 5 more steps and someone else runs up to you.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we are ranting with the appropriate energy, because this is really infuriating, actually. Like,
Oh man, I wanted to trade my game in after 3 hours.
Pokemon's been getting bad with the dialogue, but this is unbelievable, and stop it, Game Freak. Oh my god.
Well, it's like other Nintendo developers learned that lesson last generation.
They learned that lesson in 1992.
Yeah, fair.
Pokemon was fine with text in the beginning, and I don't know how they keep growing and growing so much. Oh my god. I'm not 4, please.
It's getting better now that I'm on the 3rd island now, and I think the 2nd island was a little more open and less hand-holdy, and the 3rd island has been more so. But the 1st island,
Good.
that is not an adventure. That is a guided tour by boring tour guides.
Yeah.
It was really painful to get through that, honestly. I mean, I have been loving Pokemon Sun and Moon. Everything that I needed to be optimistic about in this game has proven right. So, I am so happy with the world, the selection of Pokemon, the music's great, the scenery's great. It's so colorful and vivid and alive. I love so much. The ride Pokemon are amazing.
Yes. Oh, thank God HMs are gone, because the
Oh
ride
my
Pokemon
God,
is
I know.
a fantastic mechanic.
I mean, a lot of these improvements that they've made to modernize the Pokemon series are honestly long overdue. This is what X and Y should have been, honestly. But that's not to diminish the fact that it's good that they've done them now. These games are much better for it. And even though, yes, they should have happened a while ago, it's still great that they're here now. So I'm loving a lot of those gameplay advancements, and I'm loving that they're challenging a lot of these tropes that didn't really make sense to be tropes in the Pokemon universe, like gyms. That was really a piece of a bygone era in Pokemon. The gameplay structure that didn't really need to be standardized in every single region. These island trials, I think, make so much more sense for Alola, and a lot of other standards, the HMs and Pokemon centers now have the cafes and the marts inside them, but they also they're not where you go to trade Pokemon anymore. You just tap the menu and you can get there.
That's nice too.
Pokepelago is amazing, and I never thought that I would be liking these features like Pokepelago and Poke Refresh, but I'm also noticing that things like that are actually sort of the battle system. You'll recognize it'll every now and then be oh, Pikachu's thinking about purple Poke Beans. And I don't know if that's affecting their battle performance, but at least gives the Pokemon more character, and it really makes them come to life in their personalities in a way that I think I didn't expect Pokemon would embrace, but now that it has, I love it.
Yeah, I use Poke Refresh pretty frequently to heal status conditions, but outside of that, I'm a terrible trainer. I don't really groom and feed my Pokemon very much. I've tried to get through this game so we can do a review, but I also kind of want to catch everything I see, so it's taking a bit of a while. But what have you felt about the new lineup of Alolan Pokemon? Because I'm happier than I thought I would be with most of them.
I mean, I really don't care about them at all. I mean, I think they range from acceptable to can't have been designed by anyone over the age of 8. So, especially the Ultra Beasts are disastrously bad looking.
I'm not crazy about the Ultra Beasts yet,
I think what's nice about Alola versus something like Unova in Black and White 1, or even to some extent X and Y, is that they really draw on all 7 generations for the Pokemon. And so the bad designs don't feel like they are weighing down the overall quality of Pokemon. Like, there are lots of Pokemon that are fantastic.
And there's a few bad designs, but as I've been going, I've been trying to slowly turn my team into an all Alolan team. Like, I started with a mix, but now I'm to the point where I only have, let's see, the only Pokemon on my team that's not 7 gen exclusive is my Kadabra.
Okay.
But, like, I love Charjabug. It has like a wide range of attacks. It has great coverage, and then it can't evolve till pretty late in the game because it's a route-specific evolution. So I slapped the. It's already got great attack and good coverage, and then I slapped the Eviatite or Eviolite or whatever it's called on them that doubles defenses if they're not fully evolved. So now this thing can like tank hits and give hits out, and it's got great coverage. Friggin' fantastic.
That's
I was using a Mankey/Primate for a while until I caught a Passimian, and now I've been using that, and that's freaking great too.
Passimian's great. Oh, we need to trade. I forgot that you have Sun. Oh, we should get on that.
Yeah, we can do some trades.
Yeah, let's do it, because I caught an extra Oranguru too.
And I'm also really, really digging Mudsdale. I don't know if you've been using one or not, but it's great.
Yeah, Mudsdale's pretty cool. He's one of the ones that I think is, a good design. No, I've mostly been sort of catching whoever I run into. I've been trying to catch lots, but I also don't go out of my way to put Pokemon on my team that I don't already know that I like. So I mean, I've come to really enjoy Pick-a-Peck and some of the new Gen 7 Pokemon. Mudsdale is cool. But for the most part, I use Pokemon that I think look really nice. I don't really care so much about the battle strategies because I can always grind because I'm catching Pokemon and battling all the wild Pokemon anyway. Yeah. So to me, it's a lot more about the relationship sort of that you build with the Pokemon, and in that way, I'm a lot more inclined to get things like Pichu and Slowpoke, which are goofy and cute. I
try to catch everything that I come across in the wild, but then when it comes to team building, like I said earlier on, I had a Mankey, and I try to have a diversity. I've got a fighting type, a ground type. I try not to have 2 of any of the same type on my team, unless they're dual types and there's not that much crossover. But so as I've been going, if I find an Alolan Pokemon that, like you said, looks cool or does something interesting in battle, and it's the same type as someone on my team that it's an old favorite, I try to swap them out. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Like I said, I had a Mankey and a Primate, and then I came across Passimian, and I was like, he's a fighting type, he's a monkey, I've got a fighting monkey on my team, let's pull an old Swaparoo and see if I like this new Alolan Pokemon, and I've absolutely been loving him. So
yeah, Passimian's one of my favorites for sure. That's only fighting type, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, because I like the thing that I find compels me the most to bring new Pokemon onto my team is if they're an interesting type combo.
Yeah.
I grew to really love Galvantula in Gen 5. Chandelure is really great, even though I don't like the design too much. And I find that Alolan Pokemon, for the most part, are often one type, or the ones that are interesting type combos are ones that aren't really useful in battle. Like Oricorio is. That, let's face it, that Pokemon exists for the gimmick of switching the nectars and, looking different. Those type combinations aren't really anything meaningful, because you're not going to use it in battle. So I find that the ones with interesting type combos are the ones that most often make it to my team, but I just don't see many of those in the new batch of Alolan Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that's why I mostly stick. I've got a Poliwhirl, which I want to make into a Poliwrath for water fighting. I'm going to have Decidueye. I've got Rowlet. I have been waiting to evolve my Pokemon because I like getting the moves early on. Yeah. But, that's going to be Grass Ghost. So, good type combos are one of the things that I really look for. So
you guys know I always have this question with Pokemon games lately. But how is exploring the world map? Because, like I've said before, I love a lot of things in Gen 1. The Team Rocket bases had a lot of really interesting dungeon design. There's some cool shortcuts.
The world design is garbage.
You can't see me, but I'm flipping
here's
a
the
table
thing
right now.
that I found I don't mind that the world design is garbage for a couple reasons. For one, it's really pretty. And once you get ride Pokemon, you can just fly through these routes. So, it doesn't matter if a route is, super long and has nothing on it, because you can be done with it in 3 seconds. But the other thing that helps temper it is that at least for like the routes and the towns and stuff, this is not the case in the dungeons, which I am really frustrated by. But at least on the routes and towns, the map is like extremely detailed. So you look at the bottom screen and you know exactly where you're going, exactly where you need to go, and how to get there. So the world is designed terribly, but you have a complete layout of everywhere that you would want to go and what paths do you want to take.
The bottom screen map and objective markers have actually been really, really helpful. But
totally,
if you're expecting a lot of open exploration and caves that you can get lost in and things like that, you're going to be disappointed. It's pretty. Yeah. The first island is very linear. After that, you get a little more freedom of exploration, but it's still fairly linear.
It's pretty linear too, though, because you like, for example, I remember I tried to go through Diglett's Tunnel on Akala Island, like basically the first time I arrived there. And you walk down there and you meet Olivia, the island kahuna, and she's like, oh yeah, you can't come through here yet. And then it fades to black. Oh, by the way, every time that someone says you can't do this, it fades to black and puts you somewhere else. Stop it! What are you doing?
Yeah, that's
oh my
super
god,
annoying.
Just make an animation! What the hell?
In general, I thought there's way too many like cutaways where like the screen goes black for a few seconds and it's like,
oh my god, it takes me out of it so much. It's the worst.
And I'm so impatient. Well, that's why I'm hoping that if the Stars is coming to Switch, I'm hoping that with the beefier hardware they can make a more seamless overworld where there's less because sometimes you'll be in the middle of a street and just getting from side A of the street to side B of the street takes a transition screen. So I'm hoping that that's sort of some of the stuff that they're able to do away with the superior hardware.
I'm thinking more specifically about like I'm sure you noticed this in the demo, Alex, in Howley City when you want to go through a gate.
Yeah.
You go to the gate and press A, and he reaches out to the gate, but it fades to black, and then you're through the gate. Just animate the gate opening. It shouldn't be that hard. Like
it's the same map.
Exactly. It's not like you need to load anything else. So that's that's one of the things that really frustrates me. And Ben, you said that you're impatient, and so that gets to you. For me, I mean, I am also impatient, but it's not so much a matter of impatience. It's just it breaks the immersion of the world. It's like you don't. If you're just turning the player around, sometimes you're not even moving them. If you're just turning them around, there's no reason to fade to black for that. What the hell is going on?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's something
really
that they change on the Switch version. If they can just make a more seamless overworld, is honestly going to be a huge improvement. And a more visually polished overworld.
Especially since we're hearing one of the draws of Switch's sort of computing power is it's good at loading lots of map data at once.
Sure.
So
and
definitely take advantage of that.
And
for
not
Pokemon.
just that, but I hope that I feel like it's patronizing in the way that it does that too, because there are so many of these places where people say, oh yeah, you just can't come here yet. And it's like, if you can't go there yet, then put like a gate up, or say like the building is closed, or like, or just even with Diglett's Tunnel, just let people start exploring, but make the Pokemon so high leveled that they know, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. This is a bad idea.
Sure.
Like I feel like this is an overarching theme of Sun and Moon, is that it feels like it's a kid's game. And that's so sad to see, because there's so much that I love going on, but I also feel like it's talking down to me like crazy.
It needs an I'm not 4 years old option at the start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so frustrating, because it's not like games need to talk down to children. Just be clever with your game design, and children and adults alike will be able to enjoy it. But man, it's like they've forgotten all of the things that made the earlier generation games work so great for all ages. And while there are so many of these things that I've been talking about that I love in this game, that is my most enormous frustration, is that I'm not 4 anymore. Come on.
Yeah. So maybe on a brighter note, I remember we noted when we played the demo that just what's going on in that immigration office. There's a lot of like cool details for like adults to spot, like the people working behind the counter. Like, does that sort of detail persist through all the sort of inhabited areas?
Yes, there's like a Mega Mart where they've got like Snorlax advertisements.
It's definitely a more fleshed out and lived in world than any previous one.
Very great.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I've been loving that. That's what I mean when it's like, it's rich, it's beautiful, it's so detailed.
Everyone's houses look like actual houses that people could live in.
It's really... a while ago we had this conversation about like, X and Y were kind of a boring 3D world, whereas Yokai Watch has a lot of visual detail and it looks like it's really alive. And we were mentioning, I hope for the next Pokemon games they learn from the sort of the visual style that Yokai Watch has been embracing, and they have. So, very good.
Cool.
They are learning the right lessons from what Yokai Watch does right. And ultimately, I don't really like Yokai Watch very much, but I do acknowledge that it is enormous in Japan, and there are some good reasons for that. And Pokemon is taking claim back on those reasons.
Cool. And I guess we just complained about the world design a lot, but one thing that can mitigate that a little is if the battles are sufficiently challenging and paced. Is that the
I
case
would say they're
the
about normal to other Pokemon games.
Yeah, I mean, it's scalable. You can turn the EXP share off. I find that they are balanced towards using the EXP share. So there's that, which means, if you have the EXP share on, it will be like a normal difficulty, and then you can turn it off, and it will be a little more challenging.
For hard mode.
So that's good.
Okay.
But I find that sometimes they're challenging in ways that are really just frustrating. Like, Pokemon can call for help, and another Pokemon will come in and assist them. And first of all, you can't catch any Pokemon when there are two there, and that is so frustrating. BS. I wouldn't mind it so much if you could just catch one of them anyway. But it's really tough because, like, if you're trying to train up a weak Pokemon that you caught and you want it to do better, then if you get, a wild Pokemon down to 1 HP, you should be able to take them out with just one attack and survive. But then they'll call for help, and you'll get a full HP Pokemon that now you also have double battle against with this weak Pokemon that you're just trying to level up. Come on.
And the really frustrating thing is, I'd be okay with the call for help mechanic if it took a turn, if that was the Pokemon's turn.
That's the huge problem.
They can attack and then call for help, and sometimes they will do it literally every turn, the entire battle.
Yeah. So that's awful. I feel like this has turned into another one of those times where we're complaining about all our complaints without giving our praises, but although I feel like I've voiced a lot of my praises, it's given me hope.
Yeah, I think there's been a nice balance.
Yeah, they balanced the difficulty really well. They balanced the Pokemon really well. Nice. The world feels alive in a way that I have not felt has been true for a long time. Like this is the first Pokemon game since Heart Gold and Soul Silver that I think works at its core. There are a lot of these frustrations, but and I don't mean like it's functional and I mean like this feels like Pokemon to me again. This world feels alive and vibrant, and I am really, really loving these games. So
cool.
I really like when it starts changing from night to day, and then because of the sunset, all the water in the game turns orange.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. I guess sort of ultimate thoughts is that it's finally a Pokemon game again that isn't, to me, defined by the accumulation of all its mistakes leading up to a bad experience for me. But they've smoothed over so many of these gameplay details that, the complaints I have are complaints and gripes. They're not the experience as a whole.
Well, it's easy to focus on the negatives when you're enjoying everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the problem I have giving criticism fairly to like Black and White and X and Y is that there's just so much that it does wrong. Like, where the hell do I start?
Yeah.
But here, I've listed basically everything I don't like about Sun and Moon already. So, everything else is just fantastic.
Yep, really fun games. They definitely tried some new, interesting things that work really well, like Pokéride.
Oh my god, yes, I cannot give that enough praise. So good.
It's just hard to get through the first, 4 hours or so of the game. Really hard to get through the first 4 hours. Yeah. And then after that, it gets better.
Really the first, island and a half, let's say, because people could spend different amounts of time, trying to catch and train their Pokemon on the first island. Fair. So don't think of it as hours, listeners. Think of it as you get through the first island and the first couple towns in the second island, and that's when it sort of opens up.
Music's good, yes?
Music's very good. The normal trainer and wild Pokemon battle themes feel super generic. Like, the chord structure was ripped straight from Hoenn, basically. So that's a little disappointing. But otherwise, yeah, town music is great. The island challenge music is amazing. The Kahuna battles and the battles with How, those all have great music. Love it.
And there's different daytime and nighttime music for most locations too, right?
I don't think so.
I thought I'd heard that somewhere.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit different in the way that like Black and White had slightly different themes for the winter and spring and summer and fall versions, you know.
Yeah,
but I haven't noticed it at least.
Oh, okay.
Any final thoughts, or shall we?
So
depart?
I guess the question is, do I wait for the Switch version or do I get it on 3DS?
I mean, that's up to you. I would probably
Switch.
wait though. I mean,
Okay.
It will probably be another year.
I'm fine with that.
If you can wait that long to play Sun and Moon, but
totally fine with that.
I think the Switch version is probably going to be better for just purely objective reasons.
Cool.
Reasons.
Sure. Okay, my opinion is vindicated.
All right. Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.